I've got my work cut out for me today. This has been one of those weekends where I had just had so much to do. I did a women's expo yesterday, so I took my aprons out there to sell, and I was busy all day getting things ready. And then when I came home, I was exhausted, so I just dumped and ran. I dumped everything in the living room, left whatever was here in the kitchen here, and I went to lie down for a good hour just to recover. And then my sister called, and my other sister and her daughter and children were going to be over there to visit. So I got up and went over there to visit. So needless to say, nothing got done in here. So I'm going to have to clear all that out today. And I'm continuing to work on a no-waste kitchen using this book, Grandma's Wartime Kitchen, and I've got some sweet potatoes that's left in the fridge, and I want to make the squash biscuits that they have in here. Now, sweet potatoes are not squash, but anything you can put winter squash in, you can probably sub out sweet potatoes for that. So I'm going to do that today, but first I got to get this cleaned up. So I'll grab my apron and we'll get that started. This video is brought to you by Aprondiva. Pretty and practical, we believe that an apron can be a homemaker's best accessory. Visit us at www.aprondiva.com. In case you're wondering what I'm listening to, it is a wonderful story by Melissa Hill, and it's called The Gift of a Charm, and it is just so sweet. So I'm really enjoying listening to it.
Truly, I tell you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain.
Well, I've got the kitchen all cleaned up, and now I'm going to make these squash biscuits, only they're going to be sweet potato biscuits. What do I need to make these sweet potato biscuits? Well, I need 2 cups of all-purpose flour, and I've already got the flour in here. I'm also going to need a 1/2 cup of pureed sweet potatoes, so I've got that right there. I'm going to need 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, light brown sugar, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1/3 cup of shortening, 1/2 cup of milk, and as I mentioned earlier, the 1/2 cup of pureed sweet potatoes in place of the winter squash. 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, and then here's the 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm going to mix that together. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to add my shortening, and I'm going to cut it in. And I'm going to cut this up until the mixture resembles coarse cornmeal. You can use a pastry cutter or you can use a fork, but I just learned to do it this way. And these are going to be drop biscuits, so once I get them all cut up, I'll add my other ingredients. So now I'm going to combine the milk and the sweet potato puree, and then I will add that to my flour mixture. And I won't mix it too vigorously so that I don't make a mess and end up with it all over the counter, because you guys know how I do. And I'll stir that up until it's just moistened, and then I'll spoon them onto my greased baking sheet. Just going to drop them out. So these are going to be drop biscuits. And I'm going to bake them for 15 to 20 minutes or until they're lightly brown, and they should taste delicious. I love drop biscuits. So I've got those biscuits in the oven, and I'm going to let them do their thing. I'll go ahead and get this stuff over here cleaned up, and I'll get the table ready for our breakfast. and keep moving with my day. So I'll come back in just a little bit. Well, these on the bottom, these were on the bottom rack, and their bottoms are a little bit browner, but not too bad. These look pretty good. I haven't made drop biscuits in a long time. Mmm. Nice and moist. They're delicious. These are going to be great with coffee and maybe a little jam. So we're going to go ahead and have our breakfast, and then I'll bring you along for the cleanup of all the stuff I had to bring back from the Women's Expo, and then I'll start the laundry. I've got to wash all those aprons I had on display.
Even when the gray ash on the street outside settled, she felt hesitant to leave.
Well, my husband just reminded me that I got a delivery yesterday while I was away at the expo. So let me show you that before I do anything else. You'll love this unboxing. So look what I received yesterday. I have a Newair chest freezer. So we're going to get it opened up and then positioned, and then I'll get the instructions out and we'll see what's what. But I'm just so excited that the people at Newair reached out to me and asked if I would be willing to give their freezer a try. And you guys know, since I'm working on building out my extended pantry, which includes my freezer, I was like, heck yeah. So let's get this opened up, honey. I'm loving this. This is absolutely beautiful, and it does come in white as well as in black. But I thought I'd give the black a try. I like this little diamond panel here at the top. Here are the instructions. And there's a little plug here that will go into that little opening right there at the bottom of the freezer. And it's got a little basket inside. So here's the basket that lifts in and out that you find in most freezers. And the compressor or motor unit is under there. So I always like that extra little shelf down there. Nice and spacious, looks like. So there's 3 sets of instructions that come with this particular unit. And the first thing that's here is some instructions that says, "Stop, please read." And should we have any questions regarding this unit setup or any issues experienced in its performance, we're to call them prior to returning the purchase. And then there's a card here that we can use to register our product, so we'll be sure to take care of that. And then here are the instructions for the freezer. And it's the Newair 6.7 cubic foot chest freezer. The operating instructions are right here on top, and we should initially set the temperature to 7 degrees Fahrenheit, and then we will place food inside the freezer after it comes up to 7 degrees Fahrenheit. After using the chest freezer for 24 hours, we can set it to our desired setting using the up and down arrows here. So these arrows here let you lower the temperature or raise the temperature. It has 2 temperature ranges. It can go from minus 15 degrees Fahrenheit to 7 degrees Fahrenheit, or you can set it for Celsius depending upon what's what. And in case it gets accidentally unplugged or there's an electrical outage, the unit will start 5 minutes after it's plugged back in or power is recovered, and that's to protect the compressor. Let's just go ahead and get it put into position. We'll get it turned on. It had a little bit of a chemical smell that you get with plastics and new freezers and fridges and that kind of thing. So I cleaned it out with a little bit of baking soda and water. Now I'm going to close it up and plug it in. And then after I have it plugged in for about, let's say, 30 minutes and it's starting to freeze, I'll put some things in it. And the good thing is we're going to transfer food from an old freezer into this one. So the food we're going to put in it is already frozen. And I like to have my food in baskets so that I can get it in and out of the freezer a whole lot easier, rather than having everything just in there willy-nilly or at the bottom and then having to take things out one by one. See how the baskets fit down in there, and I'll be able to get them in and out. So I'm looking forward to getting things in that. And then I've got this little shelf here that I'll be able to sit things on. Well, we're done with what we need to do in regards to putting our meat in this freezer, and I'm glad because it's gotten quite chilly out here in the garage. You would think that by now we would have nice spring weather all the time, but we don't, and today it is cold. So there are my meats and veggies all neatly organized for now. Now I'm going to go inside, I'm going to take a little rest, and then I'll get back to the other thing that I wanted to do for today. Well, as often happens, plans changed because of life situations. So between plugging in the freezer and then loading in the food, I had an appointment for some diagnostic testing. And it was so cold in that area. I mean, I was literally freezing. And I did wear a jacket, but it was so cold. And me and a couple of the other ladies were complaining about it. And it felt like cold air was just blowing right down on us. Well, while I was loading in the food in the freezer, I began to sniffle and to sneeze. And then once we were done, I was starting to cough. And I thought, I don't feel very well, so I'm just going to go lay down and I'll finish the video tomorrow. Well, today is tomorrow. I had a very restless night. I tossed and turned all night, sniffled, sneezed, coughed all night. My poor husband. I hope he doesn't catch whatever this is. But I now have a cold. My right ear aches, and my mucus is discolored, and I know that's TMI, but I've got a cold, so this video is not going to get finished today. I am going to get something hot to drink, and I'm going to lie down. And I will bring you along when I do take care of this. It just won't happen today, and it probably won't happen tomorrow. In the meantime, this is Denise Jordan saying, check out another of my homemaking stories, and I will see you next time.